Carlos Nelson with Cascades Media Group and What's Up Kansas City. And today we have an upcoming politician running for a position over here at Jackson County, Miss Meg Marshall. How you doing this morning, Meg?
I'm doing good. How about you?
We doing great. We woke up. I'm happy.
Hey, that's it.
I think you know the deal on how we do things around here. Let's go back to kindergarten. Let's talk about all the people that have been significant in your life, some of your mentors, give them their props, and let our audience really know who Meg Marshall is.
Okay. Well, I say the only person that calls me Meg is my mama's side of the family. So, but no, I was born and raised in Chicago on the South Side. My dad, he moved to Chicago after he was discharged from Vietnam. He was born and raised in Mississippi. He was actually a sharecropper down there, got drafted and moved on up to Chicago. My mother, however, she was born and raised in Pittsburgh, just outside of Pittsburgh. My granddaddy was a steel mill worker, and they came to Chicago. And so, they met. Here I am. I'm the youngest in my family. So all the typical stereotypes that go with being the youngest in the family, I would say I subscribe to all of that. The one that always has something to prove and always trying to show up your other siblings and stuff like that. So I was raised most of my childhood. My parents they separated not too long after I was born. So I was raised by both of them, my mother and my father. I lived with my dad most of probably from like 6th grade on the way up to high school. My father was a Baptist preacher in Chicago. He's still out there doing his thing. So I grew up in the church from Wednesday night Bible study, Thursday night, all the way up until Monday. It was every day was church all day. So I have a strong faith foundation. And so when I was, I'd say about a junior in high school, going into the senior year, the summer before my senior year, I knew right away that college was not it for me. I did my bid in high school. I passed. I was a what they would probably call now an average student. I just wanted to do my work and get out into the world and just start exploring things. So this was during a time when they allowed recruiters into the high school. So I was introduced to all the recruiters, and the Marine Corps recruiter caught my eye for nothing else other than he just looked like he knew what he was doing, and them uniforms were on point. So I went up, talked to him, and I had already, had a background of military. My grandfather, he was in the Army, World War II. My dad, like I said, was in Vietnam. My older brother was in the Army. So me being that outcast, I said, well, I'm gonna one up them and I'm gonna do the Marine Corps. And of course, my brother talked trash and said, you'll never make it. So that was just like, okay, I'm gonna show you. So at 17, before I even started my senior year, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I actually at that time, you had to have your parents sign off if you weren't 18. So I kind of did what most teenagers do when they want their parents to sign something. I slid it up under something else. They signed it. And so I graduated early, my senior year, January after the first semester, and I was out of there. February, I was off to boot camp. I didn't really, have any passion to like go to prom and do all those things. I wanted to get out in the world and start doing stuff. So I went to boot camp. And joining the Marine Corps, I'm telling you, talk about having your whole world just open wide up, thrown into an environment with people from all over the place that you would never even, imagine that you'd be next to and have to work alongside of. So, having that experience early at, 18, I was just turned 18 when I went to boot camp. It gave me a whole different perspective on how the world operates and how just things connect all the way down to, the lowest level. So I did 20 years in the Marine Corps. Did not plan on doing 20 years. But, before I knew it, I blinked and 20 years had passed. I retired in 2020 as a chief warrant officer. which that in and of itself is a very competitive rank to obtain. At the time I was in, I did the math. I was part of less than 1% of the total fighting force as far as my rank, gender, and race. So when we call each other unicorns, we mean it, because you don't see too many of us with that rank and that look like me around. So 2020, I decided to retire. I was stationed out here in Lee Summit, is where I live now, just before I retired. So, like most parents, I just want to go somewhere where, my kids have good schools and just get there, settle in so I can go back to work. And so I did that. And then closer to my retirement, actually during my last deployment, because as soon as I settled here, of course, as the Marine Corps does, they're like, hey, we got one more thing we need you to do before we let you go. So 2018, I was deployed to Central America. And during that time, that's when a lot of contentious things around race and equity and all of that in Lee Summit just came to a head. And I was in Central America reading about it while my kids were here trying to get situated in yet another school environment. So that turned my attention to local politics in a way that I had never paid attention before. So when I came back, I got involved as a parent, speaking at board meetings and all that stuff. And then I just realized really quickly that this ain't it. This speaking at public meetings is very impactful. But I felt the urge that I needed to do more. So I sat back, studied, and I watched, and I said, you know what, this local government is no different than the military. There's a structure, there's people in place, they're supposed to govern. And right now, what I see is a bunch of dysfunction and lack of perspective. And all along, the students are suffering. So I made the decision early on that, I'm gonna get in it. The only way I can change things is to get up in the system. So I made the decision to run for the school board. And much like joining the Marine Corps, I had people saying, you crazy. Ain't no way they're gonna elect somebody like you in a town like Lee Summit. So again, it was like, all right, well, watch this. I'm gonna show you something. And I started out, I think we did a campaign for about 7-8 months. I started very early because I took it very seriously. And so, that was the year that the elections got moved from April to June. So we had even more time to get in there. And
Megan, I'm the cutoff king.
I know. I saw you gearing up.
Yeah.
I was like, here you go. It's like double dutch, right?
No, because when you were talking about the Lee Summit School Board, when Dr. Carpenter, I wanted to know whether that was all that was going on during his tenure, when he was trying to bring diversity out there, and they got super crazy, and next thing you know, he was out on his ear.
Right. I came in because when I said I was reading about what was going on, that was while Dr. Carpenter, just after he had got hired. So when I decided to run, Dr. Carpenter had already resigned. And honestly, I think in a lot of ways, because of the challenges and the experience that he had, cleared a pathway. It created a pathway for someone like me to be able to even run and be taken serious in a town like Lee Summit. Because the community, they wanted change. A lot, the more and more I got out and talked to people, it's like, no, there's more people who want this inclusive environment. They want their children exposed. And there's more of those than not. And I was able to galvanize those residents. They believed in me. They supported me. And I mean, the results showed. I was the first Black person ever elected in the 70-some plus year history of the school board. I got the most votes in the past 15 years of school board elections in this area. So that was a clear indicator that the community was speaking very loudly about the trajectory they wanted their school district to go in. So they came out. And so now entering into, and not only that too, in 2021, I was voted in as vice president of the school board that's voted on by the other school board members. So here you go, another Black person in a leadership position in the school district. And so now entering into my third year on the school board, the amount of progress that we've made just in that short 2-window period of time is tremendous. I mean, we have another Black school board member that came on a year after me. And so the way we've been able to move that needle forward in Lee Summit, it really opened my eyes even more to just how impactful the power of local politics is. And other people as well, because I have students that come up and talk to me, high school students who want to know how they can be involved. And I mean, every time I go see a high school student, the first question I ask them, are you registered to vote? Are you eligible? And we do it right there on their phone. I show them how easy it is to do it right there. Because I believe that piece is important. Like we were talking earlier, that piece about numbers and how to move that needle. You got to educate these children very young about local politics and where they're at, because so many adults don't really get involved until they get settled into where they their forever spot where they're going to be. And by that time you've missed 10 some years of being involved, and so that box that we talked about is just already getting more and more defined. This past fall is when I turned my attention to the county legislature. I was looking for ways to serve at a greater capacity, and the county caught my attention more so during COVID, and just the way that decisions were made there, particularly decisions around removing masks, and knowing how that directly impacted communities of color and the most vulnerable populations. And I felt that those decisions were completely irresponsible of elected officials. When you're elected, your job is to represent all constituents and to do what's best for the greater good. And a lot of those decisions around that, I felt that were just irresponsible and didn't take in consideration of the people that they represent. So that got my attention pretty quickly, because I believe representation matters. And it's important that leaders in those leadership positions stand for and understand the issues going on in the Black community and are able to advocate for that.
So make clear to our audience exactly what you're running for.
Jackson County Legislature. So it's 3rd district at large. It's an at-large seat. So anyone that lives in Jackson County, my name is going to be on your ballot. Actually, it's going to be first on your ballot because I registered to or filed to run first. I spent the night outside of the courthouse the night prior just to make sure I was first on that ballot, because to me, the way you start out the way you can hold up. That's what my high school principal told me when I was in high school. And when you start out a certain way and you present yourself a certain way, that sends a clear message to people that you care. Sleeping outside, and it was cold as hell that night.
I know it was.
It was cold, but understanding that people in Jackson County endure so much more than that, I'd have slept out there for more than one night if that's what it took.
I like that. Let me tell you this. You remember I told you how old I was and all of that.
I don't believe you, but yeah.
All right, back in the day, I can remember Cleaver and them. Everybody wants to be that first name on the list. Yeah. and I'm going back to 1980.
Okay.
And they would have different operatives stand in line all night, and then they would come. For you to actually do it yourself, for older guys, older people like me that really know and seen a lot of things.
Yeah. That
show you not delegating that responsibility to nobody, that you're right there. And that sends a big message to a person like me that
Barbara Jordan said it. You have to be able to be willing to do what you're asking other people to do. And that's something that's instilled in, my dad even instilled that, to me as a young girl, and it was just reinforced, throughout my years in the Marine Corps, as I climbed the ranks and obtained more leadership goals. You have to go first, so that those that you're influencing and your troops, your Marines, are able to see. You got to set the example and lead by example. So there's no way in the world I would expect, a constituent to even listen to me if I'm not willing to sacrifice. And that's where, service before self comes into play. When you enter the arena of public service, it's not about you. not at all, and that's just my mindset and my perspective and just how, and that I understand that may not be popular to some people, but this isn't a popularity contest for me. It's about
You know
getting
who you
progress.
sound like to a degree?
Who?
Another one of my mentors, my auntie Maxine Waters.
Uh-oh.
Maxine
Okay.
says, "Hey, don't be patting me on my back. Get in the game."
That's right. Pull up. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
Yep.
I know what I'm doing. How about you getting in this game? And
That's right.
everything that you have said this morning is about you seeing some problems and you said, "Hey, I'm not going to wait for somebody to fix them.
Right.
I'm going to try to get involved and see what my 2 cents, whether we can
That's
get."
right. That's right. And to an extent too, it's not even about placing blame, because we can play the blame game all day long. That's wasting time. People are suffering. It's just a matter, and like I tell people, it's nothing personal at all. It's about getting things done for the community. I believe I can do things a whole lot better than what have been done. I believe my perspective is a whole lot different just because of my experience and just the way that, I have been taught as a young girl. And I believe that I add value to what's happening. And I believe that also the, residents of the county can relate to that and understand that. I've been out in the county, past 90 days actively campaigning. And no matter what part of the county that I'm in, I'm able to resonate and relate and understand every single person that I've talked to, no matter where they live, no matter what their socioeconomic status is, no matter what their race is, gender, no matter what their political party is. We're able to have a conversation. And at the end of the day, it's who's going to get this stuff done and advocate for everybody.
Do you have any specific platform that you're running on that you want to talk about? Let's do that, and then let's close on out.
Okay. All right. Well, my ultimate platform item is to be an accessible and engaged leader at the county level, to bring transparency to county government. The residents should know, number one, who their representative is. They should know how to contact that representative should they have problems or challenges. And more importantly, that representative should be in their neighborhoods. You got to get out and get where they are to get the feel of the community. Some things I would like to see expanded in the county is mental health services. Mental health is running rampant, and we can't hide from it no more.
Please, I need some mental help.
Look, we all do. Look, I'm ready. I'll be the first one to go. And so ensuring that those resources are available in the communities that need them. That's the important part, understanding where the needs are and having those services available, helping those organizations who are doing the work, who are grossly underfunded, ensuring they have a streamlined process to access funds to expand their capacity to serve. Another thing is the detention center that's on the horizon to be built. Now, I know, Ms. Nelson, just like I do, when you build detention centers, you want to make sure they're built in an equitable way and on time, on budget, obviously, yes. But I believe it starts even as early as picking how many beds you're going to put in a detention center. Because, when you pick a certain number of beds, they're going to fill those beds, more than likely with people who look like you and I.
I've been there. Hold it. I've been, I hate to say this again, gangster posing as a businessman. I've been in these institutions, and let me tell you this, the system that we live under, when I started this company, I was like, you've had problems with the law, this and that, and now because my sports company is a high school, and now you're working with high school kids. They're going to come after you and I said, I was determined not to let my past dictate my future. And that was like almost 18 years ago. And a lot of us don't look at things like that. And so we never take that first step forward. Like you said, you came out, you looked at what was going on, you didn't like what was going on, and you said, I'm gonna get engaged.
Yeah, you got to face it head on. And you can't be scared either. Because boy, I tell you, when I was there quite a few times, that lonely one person, But hey, when it's all said and done, I want to be on the right side of things and doing things for the right reasons. So yeah, those are a few of my platform items and things that I think that my perspective added to that conversation will help move that needle even further. And it will also help the Black community who's been so far, marginalized and, like we said, kept in that box. So providing access, removing those barriers to access is important. Is important in our progress, moving forward and breaking those cycles that have been put in place, the systematic racism that's in place, breaking those cycles, and not only breaking the cycles, but like we talked about before, educating these young people on the things that are in place that we're completely complicit to. So when they become adults, they don't just, move in a certain way because they're accustomed to move. They need to understand why things are happening around them the way they're, so they can get involved and help move it even further when somebody like me is, older and can't move as I'm not as agile anymore. So that it's a multi-pronged approach, but it's not impossible. It is well worth it.
Well, what I see from my understanding, unless you just joshing me, is that shows my age, the words.
I thought you were gonna say jiving, but okay.
Yeah. No, I said joshing.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So I was going to do my interrupting thing when you was talking a little earlier, because my mind just be wandering all over the place. And when the point comes, I want to talk about it. And I had lost the point. It was in you talked about streamlining to our community. That's important. And the other thing that I wanted to note in your delivery, I've looked at a million reports over the last 5 or 6 years that the city, the county, Parks and Rec, they have. They keep that under wraps, but most of the people in their organization, they know what we do. They tell us what's going on. And every one of them reports say that they manage from the top down, and they're not listening to the public, what they want, especially in the 641, 641 27, 28, and 64130. And all the things that you described, from health to opportunity, but the key word that caught me, you said, I want to make the process streamlined so that they can receive what they need. And as things go now, you got to check a million boxes and it's not streamlined for us.
Yeah. It's very cumbersome. It makes people just say, just throw up their hands.
That's right.
I don't want to deal with it. I'll figure it out another way. And no, that's not right. The government is here to help. So if it's not working for the people that need it, then we need to change it.
There we go.
So, yeah.
All right. I'm going to steal one of my other hosts' closing lines before I do mine. His name is Jim Watts. He's the omnibudsman over there at the Black Archives. He's always with these niceties, talking about, it was a plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the show tonight.
Okay.
So I'll close with my usual closing. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.